Greetings, Peter Nelson here, CEO at Full Service Property Management. And I want to talk to you today about the difference between good property management and mediocre property management. You see, in my opinion, there is a lot of mediocre property management out there, and there's really only maybe 10 or 20% of the property management companies out there that I would consider to be good property managers. Um, I like to think that we're one of them. I'd be a fool to think otherwise. But in any case, I've been involved in property management since 1985 when I bought my first rental. Over the years, I've worked with 20 or 30 different property management companies. And I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the difference between good and mediocre. One thing you need to understand is that a good property manager still makes mistakes. None of us are perfect. Okay. We all have all these different hats to wear: accountant, lawyer, maintenance, bookkeeper, debt collector. It's just impossible to wear all of those hats perfectly all the time. So let's just get that out there right away. We make mistakes. Every other property management company I know makes mistakes. Uh, the difference between good and mediocre is really just a matter of a few percentage points. It's really, I like to think of it as an insurance policy. Uh, Less bad things happen with a good property manager than with a mediocre one. And a good example of what I mean by a few percentage points occurred during the COVID pandemic. Uh, at the height of that pandemic, we saw our delinquency rates in our general portfolio rise to 8%. That means that 8% of our tenants either could not pay rent or in some instances would not pay rent. They were just taking advantage of the situation. Now, if you are one of those, if you are an owner of one of those 8% properties, as far as you were concerned, it could have been 100% delinquency if you follow that logic. It's just that while we were hitting 8%, I was hearing of property management companies that were into the teens and mid 20s in their delinquency rate, whereas we were able to keep it at 8. And so that's a good example of what happens with good property management companies. We still have bad stuff happen to us. We even had a couple of tenants who would not pay rent. They basically said, screw you, we're going to take advantage of the situation. So that happened to us too. There's no guarantees here. It's just that there are fewer instances of that happening. And so again, it's an insurance policy of what you're buying. The fewer bad things are going to happen with your rental property. But going into it, you need to go in with your eyes open and know that the longer you own rental property, the greater the risk is that something will happen that you don't like. Hope that helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer all your questions. Thanks very much for watching.